What's up guys, Luke the Welder here, and today I'm going to show you how I took this gate from looking like this to looking like this. But first we need to do an assessment, so let's get a closer look at the damage. It appears as though a vehicle must have hooked onto the outer frame and ripped it clean off the gate. The only thing they left behind was this wasp nest. Gotta stay away from that. I have repaired a lot of gates in my career so far, and I'm gonna be honest, this is the first time I've ever seen square tubing left in this position like this and ripped clean off the top of the frame. And not to mention the way that they bent this C channel. It's kind of crazy. They must have taken a lot of force to accomplish that. But not to worry, they called the right guy, and we're gonna make a plan and we're gonna get after it. But first, we need to open up the gates and get our truck in position, as I am working in the middle of the road today. This repair is likely gonna take me a couple hours, so I need to redirect traffic out away from the entrance and actually into the exit side. So I went ahead and set up cones behind the camera so that the traffic can go around me. This is sort of a busy entrance, so I'm always making sure that I'm paying attention to my surroundings. It's later in the afternoon and full-blown summertime now, so I'm gonna set up an umbrella so I can at least have a little bit of shade while I work. I have optimized my welding rig to be essentially a fully functional mobile aluminum fabrication shop. Aluminum TIG welding is my specialty, so this job is perfect for me because this is an aluminum gate. I'm gonna start off by unraveling my TIG welding torch, and I'm gonna set that off to the side while I grab my ground cable. Now we need an extension cord, and these extension cord reels are my favorite. They're the fastest way to get an extension cord out, and I just leave it plugged into my generator all the time. Not to mention you can put it away really fast when the job is done. Next, I'm gonna need my angle grinder with my cutoff wheel. I prefer not to use a guard on my grinder, but as I always say, you guys should always be using a guard on your grinder. I am a trained professional. I do this at my own risk. However, you guys should follow all safety precautions. These tools are very dangerous. All right, we're all plugged into the extension cord. Now let's move on and make a plan. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut right there. I'm gonna get this out of my way, and then I'm gonna reshape the C channel. Then we're gonna cut this picket right there, and right there, and right there. We're gonna get that out of the way, and we're gonna cut the rest of this tubing down here, right there, and right there. And we should be able to get that out of the way. Then after we clean up all the welding areas, we should be able to replace that post here on the end and then the picket. Then we'll weld all of that together and we'll be ready for paint. So we have our plan of attack, so now we can start firing up our equipment. So we'll pull the choke, hit the starter, push the choke back in. Oh yeah, we gotta be on full auxiliary power. Now we can turn on the water cooler, which cools the welding torch, followed by the TIG welding machine. All right, now I just need to double check that all my settings are correct on my welding machine. It's pretty bright out here, so it's hard to see, but my settings are already preset. Now I'm testing my welding torch to hear argon and electricity, and I have both, so we're good to go. All right, we're gonna use the angle grinder, and we're gonna start cutting everything that we need to cut. Awesome, we got that out of the way. We'll clean that up a little bit later on. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was right next to another wasp's nest. Good thing they were both empty. Now, I weighed my options thoroughly here. I thought about replacing that section of C channel, but after much thought, I think I would be better off cutting this picket here, getting it out of the way, cutting down there, getting that out of the way, and then actually using my oxyacetylene torch to heat up and soften the metal here, which will allow me to use my channel locks, pry the sidewall out both directions, and then pry up and reposition the C channel. When I'm finished, the C channel will match the curvature on the top rail. Awesome. Now we got the picket out of the way. I think before we actually heat up the C channel, I'm going to take my angle grinder and put a flat disc on it and start cleaning up the welding areas. I'm also going to move up to the top and start cleaning up a little bit of the paint off there, because that paint will catch on fire once I put the oxyacetylene torch to it. All right, we have all the paint removed where we need it removed. So now I'm going to get the oxyacetylene torch and I'm going to heat up the areas where it's bent in on the C channel. And what that does is it softens the metal and makes it more pliable so that I can move it back to its original position. All right, I was able to use some C-clamps and actually a piece of tubing on the inside, and I was able to get those sidewalls pretty straight, actually. And I was also able to manipulate it upward. I'm like 90% of the way there. All right, here is the before and after. The before is on the left, the after is on the right. I think we're ready for that end post. It was at this moment that my tripod broke and I, for some reason, did not film tacking up the frame onto the gate. So I apologize about that. Now, I did not tack up the bottom C channel yet because first I have to get the proper spacing so that it matches the rest of the gate. Because the bottom C channel is under a little bit of tension, I was able to actually use a ratchet strap, wrap it around, and then by ratcheting it, I was able to pull the bottom C channel up towards the top into position and tack it. Now it's time to cut the picket. You guys may have noticed that I actually cut the first 6 inches of the picket and installed that first. That's because I couldn't get a full-size picket through both C channels on the top and the bottom. Sick, dude. All the welds are done, everything looks really good, and we're ready to start painting this bad boy. Awesome, that looks really good. The paint is wet right now, so it doesn't exactly match the color of the gate, but when it dries, it will match perfectly. You won't even be able to tell that it was spray painted. And over time, the Florida sun will fade it out as well. Next step is we're gonna get the gates closed and we're gonna take a look at them side by side, and everything should match up perfectly. And if so, the client will not even be able to tell that the gate was even hit. And the best part is I didn't even have to remove it from the hinges. Oh wow, that looks really good. You can't even tell. Oh man, that's awesome. After we let the paint cure for about 24 hours, we're gonna come back and we're gonna replace the reflective sticker here at the bottom of the gate so that they both match. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys learned a thing or two, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what it was. And as I always say, if it's holding, it's golden.